if you live in Israel, you know that getting married here is not as easy as I do. According to Jewish law, the Rabbanut has to approve everything, do background checking, even to prove that you have Jewish ancestry, and what's more, not allowing intermarriage or same-sex marriage. Well, now there is a halachic backdoor that is proving to get out of the intense bureaucracy. Joining us now by Zoom from Jerusalem is Rabbi Aaron Leibowitz, the founder of Chuppot. And thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Mazal tov on being able to pull this off. I mean, we know how difficult it could be. So explain clearly. You knew the frustration many people are meeting with this process. Affecting people. Many people not choosing to get married because of these restrictions. So why did you know it was time to take a stand to try to facilitate that?
Well, it's important to say that we've already been performing weddings outside of the Rabbanut for 7 years, and over 2,000 couples have gotten married through Chuppot. What's happened now is we've leveraged a unique opportunity to perform civil marriages in Utah together with our Orthodox kosher Chuppot. So for the first time in Israel, it's possible to get married according to the laws of Moses and Israel in an Orthodox fashion, and register with the Ministry of Interior, and register in Israel as married with this entire package of a civil marriage in Utah, which means that this becomes relevant to many more couples who are looking to register as married, looking for their marriage to be recognized. They want tradition, but they don't want Rabbanut. Today, we can offer that in a way which is fully recognized.
So, with that said, also, you're partnering, with a woman in Utah certified to do all of this. How did you connect with her? And I know they also do the weddings. They do it by Zoom and make videos. It's very forward thinking.
So actually, our organization is also unique in that we have women ordained neshot halacha, women of halacha, who perform weddings by us. But this particular case is a woman who got married through our organization. And Rabbi Chuck Davidson, my colleague, performed the chuppah, performed the wedding. And when we learned that she lived in Utah, we jumped on the opportunity, and because we knew that weddings over Zoom in Utah had become popular, but it was still a significant amount of bureaucracy, and the wedding officiant, who again, I need to stress, the officiant in Utah it's a civil marriage. Mm-hmm. It's not a rabbinic figure. But now we have an Israeli, somebody who speaks Hebrew, somebody who understands the whole picture, who can walk the couple through everything that they need to do and actually wed them civilly in the state of Utah. And that marriage certificate from Utah is recognized by order of the Supreme Court of Israel, recognized in Misrad HaPnim.
And explain, in the long run, why it's so important. There are many different the big spectrum of observance, more secular, of course, and more ultra-religious. Why, do you think it is important, still sticking to the religious law, to be a little bit more modern and flexible as we are, more than 2,000 years, into our history here in this land?
Well, it's important to say, first of all, the Rabbanut HaRashit, the chief rabbinate of Israel, pretends or presumes to represent halakha and represent Torah, but really what they represent is the ultra-Orthodox, the Haredi community. It's a fundamentalist attitude towards halakha. And at the same time, most Israelis still prefer a traditional wedding. Mm-hmm. Now, there are secular weddings in Israel. There are organizations that offer secular weddings, and the conservative and reform movement offer weddings to people who are looking for something along those lines. But most Israelis tend to be traditional, even if they're not observant in their own life. The sense that they have, or maybe it's to be considerate of other family members. Maybe it's because of assumptions that they make, or maybe it's because they really do have an ideological part of them, which is traditional when it comes to family, when it comes to a wedding, when it comes to life events.
Right.
So that's something that we offer and is in very high demand.
Well, it's true. It's a cultural thing. If you look in the United States, people are still, whether you're secular, reformed, whatever, you are sticking to, the customs of a Jewish wedding and a chuppah, and, that in itself is so important. I don't want to get into divorce, but then there's also the issue with divorce. How does that work? You know, here in Israel, a woman needs to get a get. The man has to agree to getting divorced. Does this apply to any of that? Let's hope there aren't more divorces, but it is also bureaucracy here in Israel.
Well, first of all, Chuppot is the only Orthodox rabbinic organization in Israel that requires a halachic prenup to protect against get refusal. So the huge issue of the dependence of a woman on the man, and really the dependence of both spouses on the other, to divorce under Jewish law, which causes horrific situations, which are actually much more damaging towards women in Israel, is something that we prevent as policy. And there are other rabbis and other rabbinic organizations in Israel that recommend it. But in Chuppot, we will not perform a wedding without that protection. So that's our first line of protection. In addition, I will say that there are private courts of law that provide a get, that provide a divorce agreement. And one of the big motivators for many couples not to get married in the Rabbanut is to not be dependent on the Rabbanut in case of divorce. Now, I also want to make a note. Part of the complex side of a Utah wedding is people who get married in Utah and register with the state will still need to get divorced through the Rabbanut. And that is why the prenup that we require is crucial. That's why we're now developing our own divorce court to address the needs of those couples. And that's also why some of the couples that get married in Chuppot choose not to do a Utah wedding and not to register and live as a common law couple, even though, according to halakha, they are man and wife.
All right. Thank you very much, Rabbi Aaron Leibowitz, the founder of Chuppot.
Pleasure. Thank you.